2020 is almost over and I'm already getting excited for what's to come in streaming in 2021. So I'm going to break down the 5 biggest things that I'm most excited about in streaming next year. Coming up on the Streaming Insider. What's up streamers, it's Jason from The Streamable, and every week we bring you behind the scenes of the biggest stories in streaming. And this week we have a special edition where I'm going to tell you the 5 biggest things that I'm most excited for in streaming next year. But before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss on a single review we have coming up to round out 2020. But why don't we get started on number 1. So first, you're not going to have to wait long to try it out, but on January 4th, Discovery will be launching Discovery Plus. And why I'm excited about it is it's one of the few streaming services that's going to be able to take what they do in the US and bring it worldwide pretty quickly. While it's already in the UK and India, they'll be launching in the US and in few other countries on January 4th. They expect it to expand it globally pretty quickly because they own all that content. But what I find really interesting about Discovery Plus is it's going to be one of the first tests to see if Discovery can move away from the cable bundle. What's unique about Discovery Plus is while they're trying to move away from the cable bundle, Discovery Plus, number 1, doesn't include linear streams of their channel, and number 2, won't include new seasons of shows until they're completely done on cable. So what I'm going to be really interested in is there going to be a big of an audience for people who just want a deeper library of Discovery content and some new originals and content that they might not have been able to get on the Discovery linear channels. What's also going to be cool about Discovery Plus is it's going to have content from the Magnolia Network, which isn't going to officially launch until later next year. The channel from Chip and Joanna Gaines will have a linear channel associated to it on cable, but before that even gets going, you'll be able to watch some of the shows like Magnolia Table directly on Discovery Plus. So we'll know pretty quickly how many people are going to be interested in it, but with a high-powered non-fiction streaming service, it's certainly different than anything we've seen to date. Number 2, soon after Discovery Plus, we'll also be seeing the rebrand of CBS All Access to Paramount Plus. The question is, will Paramount Plus as a brand name really be enough to separate CBS All Access from the rest of the pack? As I've said before, while I think the Paramount Plus brand is probably better than CBS All Access, and certainly they think it is internationally, I do wonder whether what they're doing with Paramount Plus is going to be enough to get people excited. Certainly it's going to have content from their more niche streaming services like MTV Hits and Comedy Central Now, all in a single streaming service. They've already added a lot of this content. They're going to have some new originals, like one behind the scenes of the making of The Godfather and a new SpongeBob movie. But the question is, will it be enough? Just because you give it a new name doesn't mean that more people will want it. But if they can make it the super service, which is how they've been describing it, which has all of Viacom content under one roof, in addition to the CBS Live feed, so you get live sports, you get some sports like Champions League, there will be an audience for this. I think the one thing that I'm going to be most interested for is there more of an audience than there was before? And I'm not so sure. I think we're gonna look back at the end of 2021 and we're gonna say Paramount Plus missed an opportunity to bring Showtime and CBS All Access together, because I think the HBO Max strategy is actually what they should have done here. They should have used Showtime anchor content to get people in and then broaden it with all the Viacom CBS content around it. But we'll find out early next year when they launch Paramount Plus. Number 3, the big news 2 weeks ago was Warner Brothers is going to release all of their new release movies the same day in theaters and on HBO Max. And we're gonna see in 2021 whether that will have a ripple effect across the industry. We learned at Disney Investor Day that they're not going to be just as aggressive. Sure, they're gonna have Raya and the Last Dragon as a premiere access release. They moved some of their theatrical releases and turned them into Disney Plus originals, but they haven't gone the same way and said we're gonna release all of our content also on Disney Plus. But the question is, will other studios take suit? Will NBC Universal try to do this with their streaming service? They're a little bit different because Universal content goes to HBO Max, so they don't have quite the incentive, but maybe some of their smaller studios will take aim at the same approach. But Warner Brothers will certainly give us an indication of, one, does releasing something on streaming the same day actually affect theatrical performance? And number two, is this something that makes sense to keep forever? Certainly I feel like the cat is out of the bag and it's really hard to get it back in, but they haven't committed to doing it past 2021. What I think will likely happen is I think we'll see some success with this, but I think going into 2022, they'll probably try some modified release where they release for maybe a week or two in theaters and then it shows up on HBO Max. Number 4, let's move over to some live TV streaming action. What is gonna happen with Sinclair and their regional sports networks? Over the course of 2020, we've seen Sinclair-owned Fox regional sports networks dropped by Fubo TV, Hulu Live TV, YouTube TV after getting dropped by Sling TV and Dish last year. So they've already said that they're hoping to have a direct-to-consumer service sometime later in 2021, but what will that actually be? They certainly can't charge the same amount that they charge even as a regional sports fee. It's not going to be $5 to $8. Is it going to be $20, $30, $50? We don't really know, but it certainly is going to be expensive. And the question is, what does that mean, number one, for the cable bundle that really relies on this and how much pushback that they'll get from cable distributors? 2, what does that mean for live TV streaming services? Will they ever add them back? We'll probably know in the next month or two when NBA and NHL starts playing up again. And number 3, when they do launch the direct-to-consumer product, what does that mean for all these other things? Does this mean the collapse of the cable bundle? Does it mean the collapse of the live TV streaming service? Because if you can get the channels that you want a la carte, even if it's more expensive, if you can get it for just 5 or 6 months a year, that might be enough to supplement with an on-demand streaming service like a Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon Prime. And lastly, the evolution of Disney Plus. Disney announced that they'd be launching their Star and Star Plus service internationally in 2021. That comes along with a price hike, but with the addition of more adult-focused content, we're gonna see if that's gonna broaden the people who actually sign up for Disney Plus. And I think that will have a lot of ramifications on what Disney does in the US. If it is successful, I could see them migrating a similar approach with Hulu in the US. There are some issues because of their deal with Comcast to acquire that stake in 2024, but if all goes well internationally, I think Disney will have more incentive to bring more adult-themed content directly to Disney Plus, even in the US. That's it. These are the things I'm most excited about in 2021, but I want to hear what you're most excited about. So leave us a comment below and tell us, what are you most excited about in streaming in 2021? And if you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up. And if you want more videos just like these, make sure you hit subscribe. As always, visit us all week long at thestreamable.com for the latest in streaming news and reviews. And for The Streamable and The Streaming Insider, I'm Jason. Have a great week.